Hi, I'm Dr. Erin Yelland with K-State Research and Extension, and today I'm going to be talking with you about senior scams. Did you know that each year more than 5 million Americans are subject to senior scams? And this can cost upwards of $38 billion a year in lost revenue, lost assets, and so much more. So senior scams are an important thing to be aware of. First, let's talk about why seniors are targeted and who are seniors. Of course, when we talk about seniors, we're generally talking about people age 65 and older, and these individuals can be targeted for a variety of reasons. The first of which is that many older adults can have a nest egg or a set of cash setting aside for some rainy day. Perhaps they own their own home or they have excellent credit. All of these things can make them a prime target for scams and fraud. Next is that older adults are more likely to be polite and trusting of individuals than perhaps some of the younger generations are. In fact, the FBI reports that people born in the 30s, 40s, and 50s are generally more trusting of individuals than people born in later decades. Next up, older adults are less likely to report fraud, which means that the scammers who are coming after them aren't as worried about getting caught as they might be if they were targeting a younger individual. So for those reasons, older adults are more likely to be targeted. They're polite, they're trusting, they may not want to report or know how to report that they've been a victim, and oftentimes they have that nest egg. They own their own home, or they have assets and really good credit that scammers want to get a hold of. Next up, how are seniors targeted? Seniors are often targeted in different ways than younger generations. Younger generations are most often targeted through the internet and other electronic means, but seniors are still being targeted for scams through traditional old school methods, such as over the telephone, door-to-door, or through advertisements. But we're also seeing some older adults be targeted via the internet as well. With telephone scams, seniors are often targeted by receiving a phone call where an individual asks for money. Oftentimes they might ask for that via a check, money order, or buying a Visa gift card that cannot be traced, for example. Other times they'll be asked to donate monies to charity. But we'll talk more about the specifics of how seniors are targeted later. With door-to-door scams, though, they are often targeted by people coming up to the door saying that they're selling something or that they're offering a really good price on a home repair. It's oftentimes these more personal connections that seniors are targeted with, and that they are more likely to succumb to becoming victims of fraud. So what strategies are often used? I've already mentioned a few about people coming door to door and pretending to be a salesman, or perhaps someone calling and pretending to be someone else. So what strategies are often used to target seniors with scams and fraud? As you can see from this screen, there are so many ways that seniors are targeted. Sometimes someone may place a phone call pretending to be someone else. Other times you might receive a threat, or a scammer may use a scare tactic to make you scared enough to give in to their threats and give them money. Other times, a scammer can be sympathetic or even be willing to help with your situation. We have also seen scammers use charity scams, where they show up to your door or make a phone call asking for money to be donated to a favorite charity. We've also seen scammers use technical language, perhaps using legal jargon or big words that we oftentimes may not understand what they actually mean. All of these strategies can be used with older adults and younger adults alike. And no matter your age, the more that you're aware of common strategies that are used to target individuals for scams and fraud, the better off you're going to be at protecting yourself. When we come back from the break, we're going to talk about the most common scams that older adults are facing right now.
At Rogers & Associates Insurance, we serve the Midwest. We offer home, auto, commercial, and farm insurance policies and provide solid options for life and health insurance. For those unexpected life events like hail, wind, deer crashes, fender benders, and the little things in between, we can help you ensure what matters most in your life. Let us help you design a plan that meets your needs and budget. Visit us online or call us at 1-800-569-0118 to learn more. Don't let the weather outside interfere with the comfort of your home. Contact AquaShield Roofing and Construction today for all your home repairs, no matter what the season. AquaShield Roofing and Construction specializes in roofing, siding, guttering, insulation, windows, doors, remodeling, and construction. We offer free estimates, and our customer satisfaction is our priority. Don't put off repairs due to the season. Call AquaShield Roofing and Construction today.
Welcome back to this Extension Ed Talk on senior scams. I'm Dr. Erin Yelland, and we're going to continue to talk about scams that are most commonly targeting seniors right now. These can oftentimes be divided up into three categories or three types of perpetrators. The first of which is done by strangers, followed by professionals, and then family members. But first, what are the most common scams being performed by strangers right now? The first of which is lottery and sweepstakes scams. This is when an individual might call and say, you have won $1 million. All you have to do to secure the $1 million in your bank account is send me $2,500 on a Visa gift card, and that $1 million will be yours. Also common are home repair scams, and this will happen when an individual might show up to your home and say that they're in town for a limited time and they're offering really good roofing specials. And what they will do is they may or may not re-roof your home, but at the same time while they're talking to you on the front porch, they might have another individual who is a conspirator with them going through your home and stealing your belongings. This is quite common among older adults, especially in rural and frontier areas. We oftentimes see a lot of grandparent scams as well, and grandparent scams are incredibly common. This occurs when someone will make a phone call to you pretending to be a grandchild. They will provide very little information, and the information that they provide will be very vague. So they will say, Grandma, it's me. I got into trouble. I'm in jail. I don't want you to tell my mom and dad. Will you send me $3,000 via a wire transfer to bail me out? This is a common occurrence, and many varieties of these grandparent scams exist. So always beware and always double check with who you're talking to. It's really important to ask questions like, when's your birth date? Where were you born? What's your mom's name? Asking questions like that can determine if you're really talking to who they say that they are. Next are charity and disaster scams. These will often happen after a major natural disaster. So for example, someone could come to your home pretending to raise money for the latest hurricane or tornado that has struck a certain area within the United States. And these individuals are not taking that money and giving it to a charitable organization who is helping the individuals who have become victims of that natural disaster. Instead, they're using that own money to line their pockets. It's very important that you ask for proof of who you're talking to and proof of the charity that they say that they're going to support. And I will talk later, but the most important thing is to remember to always trust your gut. If you're not sure who you're talking to and your gut tells you that you're not sure, listen to your gut and get yourself out of the situation. Next up are utility company scams, where someone might come and pretend to be from the utility company and ask for access to your home, or maybe ask you to accompany them to look at the meter outside of your home, while again, another individual can enter your home and take your belongings without your permission. Finally, the last common scam that we'll talk about that is commonly perpetrated by a stranger is telemarketing scams. And this is when someone will call your phone or even come to your home and pretend to be selling something, and you might give them money for a particular service or product, and you're never going to receive that service or product, but they're going to receive your money. So all of these things are common scams reported by the FBI and the Department of Justice at the federal level that say that these are things that are commonly targeting seniors and things that you should be aware of. Next up are scams commonly perpetrated by professionals or people who are pretending to be professionals. In this case, we see a lot of loans and reverse mortgage scams. And this is why seniors who have that nest egg or who own their own home are prime targets for these loans and reverse mortgage scams. We also see people coming after older adults with promises of annuity sales and investments. If you give me $5,000 now, I guarantee within the next 5 years, that $5,000 is going to quadruple in size. These are the types of scams that we'll see. We also see a lot of counterfeit prescriptions. So of course we know that many older adults are taking a lot more prescription medications than younger adults. And so for that reason, they are more commonly targeted. We also know that older adults typically live on limited budgets and have limited incomes. And for that reason, older adults are oftentimes always looking to save money wherever they can. There have been numerous scams occurring across the internet, door to door, and over the telephone, offering older adults a prescription medication for at least half the cost of what they're currently paying. Once you pay that prescription fee, that company or individual will send you counterfeit prescriptions, basically sugar pills or placebo pills. And then that can obviously adversely affect older adults' health as well. So always be sure about where you're getting your prescriptions from, and going to your local pharmacy is a best bet to ensure that you're getting the prescriptions you actually need. Next up are funerals and cemetery scams. Again, this can occur when someone comes to your door and says, if you give me $3,000 now, I guarantee that your funeral is going to be completely covered in cost, and that's going to include your burial plot and all the sorts of bells and whistles that go along with funerals now. This is a scam, and you need to watch out for that. So making sure that you're working with reputable people in your local community to organize your funeral and secure your cemetery spot is very important. Next up are what we call phishing emails. And phishing emails are basically fake emails that may seem like they come from a legitimate address that are there to scam you. So if it seems like you might have sent yourself an email and the reply all goes to yourself, or that says that the sender is yourself, that's something to watch out for. Anytime you receive an email or something across the internet that you're not sure about, delete it and do not click on it. The last common scam, commonly perpetrated by professionals or people pretending to be professionals, are Medicare scams, and these are huge. My number one piece of advice is that if someone calls you pretending to be from Medicare, never give them any of your information over the phone. Medicare will never call you and ask for your Medicare number or your Social Security number on the phone. In fact, most of the time they will send you a mailing saying that they need to speak with you and to call their office. And then they will almost always never ask for this identifying information. They'll ask different questions instead. These Medicare scammers will do this to be able to get your Medicare ID number, your Social Security card number, and all sorts of personal information in order to steal your identity. So always beware. Are you talking to a professional or someone pretending to be a professional? Trust your gut. The next group of scammers can unfortunately come from family members. And there are several ways in which family members can take advantage of elderly members of their family. First of which is by asking for a power of attorney. Essentially, this is giving someone access to your financial documents and perhaps access to making financial decisions for you should you sign the correct paperwork. So never sign a power of attorney or a legal document under distress. If you don't feel comfortable in the situation, don't sign it and call for help. We will often see older adults also become victims of frauds and scams by becoming a joint bank account holder with a loved one, where the loved one is not there to protect them, but instead they're there to gain access to their financial resources and spend it. We will also see family members take advantage of older adults by stealing ATM cards and checks from their home or from their purse, perhaps even from a safe in the home. We will also see some family members give threats of abuse by saying, if you don't give me this money, I'm not going to take you to the doctor. Or things as scary as, if you don't give me this money, I'm going to hit you or hurt you. We will also see family members refusing to provide care to loved ones in return for financial profit. So if an individual does not give a family member or a stranger or even a professional the money that they want, those individuals can then refuse to provide necessary medical care. And as a result, many older adults become scared and afraid, and they want to receive the medical care that they need. And so they give away the money. There are so many scams and frauds targeting seniors, and these are just a few of the most common. Something important to know is that these scams and frauds, there are new ones coming out every single day. And so the bottom line is that if you trust your gut and follow your gut, you can oftentimes avoid becoming a victim. After the break, we're going to talk more about how to avoid becoming a victim of scams or fraud.
You're an expert at building your company. You know your customers, your books. You live it, eat it, breathe it. Are you also having to wear an IT hat while you're managing hundreds of other things? Those hats could really add up. That's where Nex-Tech comes in. We'll let you be the expert of your business, and we will be your IT department. From cybersecurity to backup, hardware and software, we'll manage it for you so you can keep your business running. Rest easier with Nex-Tech Managed IT.
Welcome back to the Extension Ed Talk on senior scams. I'm Dr. Erin Yelland from K-State Research and Extension. Now I'm going to be talking with you about how you can help to protect yourself from becoming a victim to scams and fraud. The first of which is to educate yourself. I always say that knowledge is power, and by watching this Extension Ed Talk today, you're already going to have one foot forward in this arena. It's so important to be aware of the current scams and frauds that are going on in your community and across the country so that you can protect yourself. You also want to always know who you're dealing with. Anytime someone is trying to get money from you or perhaps obtain some sort of power of attorney from you or anything like that, you want to know who you're dealing with. So trust your gut. Again, if you're not sure, say no and get yourself out of the situation. That goes on to my next point. Whether you're on the phone, on the computer, or in person, if you don't feel good about the situation, hang up, close the window on your browser, don't answer the door, or just excuse yourself from the situation and get out as quickly as possible. Another tip is that you always want to keep your personal details secure. Never give away your Social Security number, your Medicare ID number. Never give this information away. Always keep that as safe and secure as possible. Next up, always remember to be smart on the internet. You always want to make sure that you're using strong passwords and that you have adequate security software on your computer. I will provide a caveat with the security software, however. My father recently got into a scam by buying security software for his computer that was actually someone trying to take his information. When I walked into his home, because he had called and asked me for help, the individual that he was speaking with already had control of his computer. They were manipulating the screen and going through his documents, and they were on the phone with him threatening from him closing up his computer. So always be aware, even when you're searching for security software, that you're working with a legitimate company. And if you're not sure, ask friends and family members for advice or for help. It's never too embarrassing to ask for help. It is more detrimental to become a victim of scam or fraud than it is to ask for help. Next up, review your privacy settings online and on your social media accounts. With almost everything where you can have personal information online, there's always a privacy options setting. So you want to make sure that as little information as possible is out for the general public to receive. For example, on Facebook, there's so many privacy settings, and you can essentially have only your friends and the people who you have approved to be your friends on Facebook see your information. And that is the most secure way to have an online presence on social media. Last, trust your gut. I've said it so many times during this Extension Ed Talk, and I'll tell you one more time. Trust your gut. If you're not sure, hang up. Get out of that browser on the internet, excuse yourself from the situation, call and ask for help. Trust your gut if something doesn't feel right. Next up, I'm going to give you several resources that you should check out today to help to protect yourself from scams and fraud. The first of which comes from the Federal Trade Commission. This is a federal agency that oversees scams and fraud and all types of financial abuse and other topics going on across the country. In order to be up to date on the latest scams that are being reported across the country, you can go to ftc.gov/scams. There on that website, you will see a whole host of the recent scams that have been targeting seniors, and you can also subscribe to email updates to receive those updates straight to your inbox of what the latest is happening with seniors and scams. The next resource I want you to be aware of is the Do Not Call Registry. This is incredibly important for everyone to sign up, and if you're not sure if you've signed up, go ahead and sign up again. You can access this by going to donotcall.gov, and all you have to do is enter your personal cell phone number, your home telephone number, and then you will be placed on the Do Not Call National Registry, where it then becomes illegal for telemarketers to reach out to you. The next one that I will advise you to do is to be sure that you're checking your credit reports every 4 months. There are 3 credit reporting agencies in the United States, and you can receive 1 report from each of those 3 agencies per year. So it is strongly recommended that every 4 months you pull a credit report from one of the agencies. You can access all 3 of those credit reports and those credit reporting agencies at annualcreditreport.com. You will often see TV advertisements for other credit reporting sites. Annualcreditreport.com, though, is the one that is managed by the 3 credit reporting agencies and is overseen by the federal government. So annualcreditreport.com is where you want to go to receive those credit reports. Now, Once you get your free credit report every 4 months, you want to go through and make sure that there are no accounts opened up that you are unaware of. Looking for signs of fraud is incredibly important. Making sure that everything on there is legitimate and secure is what you want to do. And the good news is that they're not incredibly overwhelming and they can be pretty easy to understand. So as long as you know what accounts you have open and what loans you have, you should be able to double check your credit report to make sure that nothing else has been opened up in your name. Next up, the last thing that I want to talk about is how to report scams. Most seniors do not report that they have been a victim of scams or fraud, and this is scary because then they are essentially being left helpless, or they may not receive the help and support that they deserve from federal agencies, from the police department, or they may not be able to recoup any of their losses if they don't report it. It is so important that we are reporting it, also so that we can track the trends in local communities and across the country and warn others of what scams are currently happening. So if you think you have become a victim of a fraud or scam, the first step is to call your local police department. And don't worry, if you were wrong and it was actually a legitimate person calling you, it's okay. You're not going to get in trouble for falsely reporting. But always call your local police department. If there was any type of financial concern with the fraud or scam, your next step should be to call your bank. They can put a flag on your account and watch for any unusual or suspicious activity. They can also close a credit card or a debit card account and provide you with a new card that has not been compromised. Additionally, you can call Adult Protective Services, and the federal phone number is 1-800-677-1116. This phone number will connect you with a national organization that is there to help older adults. And what they will do is then contact you or connect you with local resources that can help you locally. The last thing that I want you to be aware of is how to report if you've been a victim of scam or fraud to the federal government. And this is very simple to do by visiting ftc.gov/complaint. If you report to this site, it helps federal lawmakers, police departments, and all sorts of people across the country be aware of what the current frauds and scams are so that we're better able to help educate the community, look out for the frauds and scams, and be able to track down the perpetrators that are doing this to loved ones across the country. There are so many things that you can do to help protect yourself from becoming a victim of scams or frauds. And so the next question I'm going to ask you is, what steps will you take first to protect yourself from scams? Perhaps it is going online and reading more information. Perhaps you're going to call your bank today and say, please always watch out for my account. I'm worried that I might have been a victim. Or I want to know if you see any suspicious activity in the future. Are you going to call me if something suspicious happens on my bank account? You can do that today. You can also constantly remind yourself to trust your gut. If you feel that you're in an uncomfortable situation and you're not sure who you're talking to or what their intentions are, trust your gut and give yourself permission to be afraid and worried that you might become a victim. But never let this affect your life negatively. So many people can protect themselves from scams and fraud, and it's okay to protect yourself, but it's also okay to be a little bit nervous. It can be a scary world, but K-State Research and Extension is here to help provide you information and tools and resources to make the best decisions possible. If you have more questions about senior scams and frauds, contact your local K-State Research and Extension office for more information. Thank you for tuning in to this Extension Ed Talk today. I'm Dr. Erin Yelland from Kansas State University and K-State Research and Extension.